All right. I'm Steve Miller. I'm one of the faculty at the School of Information Systems, also the dean. Did you guys see the little things on the way up? Everybody get this? Okay?
I don't have it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, when you go out, after your interview, do it in reverse.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Just what we put up are examples of what the program's about, and examples of courses and things you could find on the website. But while you're here, it's good to just look around, of course. And all that. Okay. So on this, let us brief you what happens in this time that you're in the room. All right? Your interview will begin 1:15, you said? Okay. And there's going to be 4 parts to the interview. All right? We're going to put up a poster on that for subsequent students, but I'll tell you what the 4 parts are. We're going to give you an article to read, all right? And you'll go through that. Now remember, when we give you the article, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you've studied, right? So when you look at the article, you don't say to yourself, this isn't anything I've studied, because that's true for everybody, okay? So the articles are specifically chosen so anybody can understand them, right? Sort of things that you might get in a magazine written for, well-educated school kids. And you'll go through those, and then we'll talk to you about some of your opinions on the article. And don't try and memorize every word, but you really want to say, hey, what's this article about? What are they trying to tell me about? What are some of the issues? Right? So think through it like that. So that's one important thing that you'll do. There's what we call an estimation question. It's kind of fun. Again, it doesn't matter what courses you've taken. It doesn't matter what level of math you've taken. Right? A lot of it is think on your feet. But if you read that poster, what the kids call the piano tuner poster, it will put you in the spirit of the question. We're not going to ask you that question, but if you just read through that poster, and when you see the estimation question that we give you, you sort of feel a little bit familiar with the spirit of what we're talking about. We're going to ask you to fill out a student form. It's called a critical information form. I'll pass that out to all of you guys. And let me tell you why we're doing this. Now, it aligns well with this little poster that we have up there. What do we look for when we're admitting SIS students? And of course, there's a list of things that who wouldn't want all these attributes in a student? Sort of like, sure, the secret to being a wonderful human being. But notice that these things, they don't really say you should have studied X, or you should have done this or not done that. These are kinds of things that every individual has control of in their own life. Right? Nobody stops you from being these things. All right. And what we want for you to do is to look at each group and to take an example. You don't have to fill it out right now, because I'll just finish the briefing. But to go through and give a specific example, right? And there's not a lot of room there, but the key is the word specific and meaningful, right? I'm not going to go into the detail of what's a superficial example or what's sort of a more substantive and meaningful one. You'll have to figure that out yourself. But give an example that seems compelling, right? An example that, well, gee, I was on the track team. That means I'm motivated. I don't quite get it. You know what I mean? There could be something about some really important thing that you had to overcome, and some way that you really set your mind to a challenge that took a long time and really showed motivation. So when you give these examples, right, try and get it so it's compelling, that even in a brief way, in just a few sentences, if you were called on to give that example, You don't even have to say a lot, and it's, yeah, wow, I'm convinced. You know what I mean? So be thoughtful about, it's not fluff, and you're not doing marketing, but the actual experience you're referring to, this past thing, is a pretty darn convincing example. Okay. And then at the bottom, list the question. It really helps us. If you have a question on your mind, somebody else does too. But don't list questions that you've already seen on the website. In other words, use the questions to fill in stuff that you don't already know. Right? If it's stuff you really should have seen on the web, don't ask, gee, you know, what are the names of the courses or something like that, how many courses are in the SIS major. I mean, you need to know that, and even if you saw it on the website, you might not have memorized it. But you know that's sort of trivial to go find on the website anyway. Right? So ask questions that take advantage of the point that you're talking to the faculty, that you can't just get right off the web. Something that connects the dots, something that you personally care about. Okay, so I think that's it. I don't need to say too much more about that. And then you guys are going to see some of the videos. Right? What's the exact order in which this will happen, Dorcas?
You read the articles first.
Okay,
Yeah.
you'll read the articles, and
then the video.
then the video, and just make sure that before you get out of here, you have time to study the estimation question. Do the forms. Okay. Any questions? You guys glad to be here? Yeah. And you know, we've told the. How many of you were at the information session for the open house? Any of you there? Okay, good. The best way to do well in the interview is to be yourself. Anything you've rehearsed, anything you're trying to prepare, don't worry about it. Just let it pass out of your mind. Answer really from your heart, authentically. If you agree or disagree with something we ask you about, it's okay. You know what I mean? The more you really put out there who you are and the way you think and the way you uniquely are, really the better you're going to do. Okay? And the other thing is verbalize out loud. We cannot read your mind. All we can do is work off the data that you give us. And the only thing we have to work off are what you tell us. Okay, guys? All right, that's it. I can proceed.